Where did I put that? Come on. It's just a jacket. Have you ever had a piece of armor that you longed for? It sounds weird, I know. Allegedly, we live in the 21st century, but just bear with me on this one. You know, something like Skyrim's iconic horned helmet, Dante's red leather coat from Capcom's pizza eating simulator, or the Helghast's glowing-eyed helmet from Killzone. All legendary choices, but for me, that single piece of apparel that I just haven't been able to shake for, well, now 20 years is far from as iconic. It's from a game I got without a case, bundled with a dusty and scratched up original Xbox from my sister's boyfriend. He wasn't a gamer. He was as far from it as you could possibly imagine, which is probably why I got to borrow his one console for almost 8 years. But you could imagine the excitement as he came over, duffel bag over his shoulder, emptying it out on my bedroom floor. A fresh, new console I had never seen before. One controller, and Fable. "2004. A couple years after the entire world exploded in the Millennium Bug and the remnants of our once prosperous society, a new messiah rose up. Read any previews for a certain up-and-coming Xbox exclusive RPG written in the throes of hyperbolic Armageddon, and that's the picture they painted. Gaming was saved, the new generation had its hero, God was good, and he was British, and a bit of a cowboy."
Ah, there you are. We've been expecting you.
Peter Molyneux was not new to game development in the early aughts. To claim he was the chosen one might be slightly over the top, but for people spending their weekends at LAN parties, that wasn't that far off. With a design portfolio of Populous, Dungeon Keeper, and Black and White just to scratch the surface, it'd probably just be easier to grant him godhood and be done with it. And so, Fable was eagerly anticipated. And why wouldn't it be? The resume was there, the backing of Microsoft, and, well, let's just say Mr. Molyneux had a tendency to promise things. Development started in 1999, and soon promises started to pop up. You could become so agile that you'd catch your enemy's arrows in mid-air. You could raise children, which would be extremely important to the story, and the now infamous quote that you could knock an acorn off a tree, see it sprout, and carve your initials into it as you watch it grow throughout the game. As time ticked over the Millennium Barrier, multiple delays occurring one after another, all with another promise tacked on, and before you knew it, Fable was one of the most sought-after games coming out. So that's why I was so excited to play it. I mean, it was a promise of everything. Gold and green forests, the entire world reacting to your every action. I mean, that sounds incredible to me now, so it must have sounded insane to tiny me, but just correct me if I'm wrong here, right? But it didn't end up like that, right?
No, not in the slightest.
Another end of the world, only 4 years after the last, but this one centered exclusively in Guildford, England. In 2004, Fable released, and the world was finally on to Molyneux and his crew. All the promises, all the features, all the hype came crashing down. As soon as that disc disappeared into the machine forever, a twilight drenched in lime green, the ruse was up. Or, well, the ruse was like, kinda up. Almost immediately, reviewers, players, and soon-to-be heroes noticed the things that were supposed to be there. That reactive world beyond anything previous, well, it wasn't. But that wasn't the end of it. One look at the review scores from those stumbling days of our hobby show that there was something here. Beyond the buzzwords, the hype, and the letdown, there was just a good game. It wasn't revolutionary, not the greatest of all time, but it was good. And maybe more importantly, while so many games that I remember from my childhood fail to fill out the wider-than-life brush their memories are painted with, Fable has. And that is just as undeniable right now as it was in 2004. Maybe that's fitting then. that one piece of armor, that one mystical garment that I can't shake aren't these ludicrous pauldrons or these horrific spiked boots, but the outfit you get as you graduate from Hero High School. During the entirety of the beginning of the game, from when you're rescued from your burning childhood home, enrolled in the Guild of Heroes, to when you're undergoing years of rigorous training, you're wearing the sand-colored apprentice robes of the Academy, just like everyone else. Very fantasy, very magical, very normal. But as soon as you pass your final exam after beating your headmaster to a pulp in the woods, those old robes are completely forgotten and you find yourself in a brand new uniform. The one piece of video game gear I will never forget is a gift for achieving the lowest ranks of the world's protectors. A humble outfit fit for the working man. A gift to send you off into the wide open world. A pair of Levi's. But what are jeans? It's a great question for a gaming video, but whatever. We're going off the deep end with this one. It all started in France, or Italy, or India. Listen, different sources say different things. The year was sometime in the 1500s, and the more I read about this, the more people seem unsure about the origin of these fucking pants. It's reading like denim was an alien creation that just touched down on the planet and Renaissance people just went nuts. Well, understandably. Fast forward to 1871, when it really started, when a tailor in Reno, Nevada decided to fix a client's tearing trousers with rivets. Then the revolution began. The modern-day jeans were born. Possibly 1,000 years after the Middle Ages that Fable is set in. Look, I'm not gonna pivot this thing into a full-on denim documentary. Lord knows I have a hard time as it is discussing game design, but I think there is something to it. It's a fantasy setting, so you can do whatever you want, and there are anachronistic things all over, but there's just something so delightfully funny about a King Arthur type hero of might and magic, slinging spells and wielding a steel longsword, cutting down hobs and bandits left and right while tucking his beige polo shirt into his Wrangler jeans. It's not deeper than that. I just really enjoy it. It's just a pair of jeans. Sources also state that jeans and denim are different things, saying that one is a garment and one is a fabric, but I refute this. This is the hill that I die on. The catachresis of my cowboy pants is literally the thing I care about the least in the world. But in that world, they weren't always cowboy pants. For me, I mean, yeah, they are the legwear of the frontier. 6 chambers, 2 smoking barrels, horseback, and sleeping under a sky full of stars, all but impossible, but in a pair of the bluest of blue jeans. But on the other side of the bluest of blue marbles, they were a symbol of the revolution. In an article for NPR, historian Christine Roth-I describes how the 1950s brought the blue jeans craze to the Soviet Union. The government deemed it a sign of decadent Western consumerist culture, but that didn't stop it. Black markets fueled insane prices, the bluest of blue longings for self-expression.
You're now renowned enough to use the sneer expression.
And isn't that what a role-playing game is? A longing for self-expression. To look at a world, a weapon, a spell, or a piece of armor and go, yeah, I think that's who I am. Games like Baldur's Gate, Morrowind, and Knights of the Old Republic had long before Fable been considerably deeper, letting you build your character almost to the very self you saw yourself as. And while Fable's systems of focusing on strength, skill, or will may be simpler, it also echoes that bluest of blue ambitions.
Oh, thank Avo you're here. I thought no one would answer our guild request.
It's a beginner's RPG. A light, easy first step for players into a world all about them. And really, how could it possibly ever be anything else? Around the release of Fable 2, Molyneux was cited as saying it's amazing for a role-playing game because most role-playing games are shit, which obviously was said to stir the pot, but it shows where the design ethos might come from. It's as if the team had a completely different vision. In the same quote, Peter acknowledges that Bethesda's Oblivion is great, but he's completely locked in on combat. Oblivion was great, but Fable cares for different things. Instead of making the world fully reactive to your choices, allowing you to shape it to your every whim, it asks what that world should look like in the first place for you to even want to spend your time in it.
Are you just gonna stand there like a lemon?
Fable loves the minutia, the wacky, the strange. It loves the cozy and the weird. It builds a world that at the first step feels like home at the expense of, well, everything else.
Oh, thank you, young lad. I ain't cast me line for so long, I got me the shakes. Been eating bait worms all week.
It might have aspired for never-ending options to find yourself, but through the development issues, the promises, and the reality, it somehow finds itself and understands that it can't give that to you. So it holds your hand, takes you through the basics, and when you're ready for the world, it hands you a pair of the bluest of blue jeans. Which is exactly... Where did I put that thing? Playing Fable was a special moment. A console I'd never seen. The other side of the deepest divide. To experience the dark side to my Jedi PlayStation 2, it felt like glimpsing into a new world. A world that allowed for the greenest of blue self-expression. It wasn't about the unbridled freedom of unlimited choice, but about the gentle understanding of how terrifying it can be. Because even as I was forced to return the Xbox, found new hobbies, made new connections and new things, and far outgrew those first blue jeans, it stuck around. This is my denim jacket, my jeans jacket. It's been a part of who I am ever since I first got it, when I was 15 years old. My days at the time consisted mostly of riding as fast as I could through the woods on my push-to-Dakota moped, blistering speeds of just under 20 miles an hour with my friends, until one morning when my mom handed me this thing. It was way too big for teenage me. "You'll grow into it," she said. "You should wear it with your black pants," she said. "You should button it up so that you're not cold," she said. "It's genuine denim," she said. I didn't hear any of it. I was entranced. This was who I wanted to be. It was the bluest of blue tickets into the new world. It was a symbol of rebellion, of growing up, of counterculture, and of finding your way. The cut reminding me of Han Solo, an outlaw with a heart of gold, the color of Leonardo and his razor-sharp katanas, and with the collar popped, I felt like Leon Kennedy skulking through rural Spain. Promises of becoming something greater, something beyond who I thought I could be. But it was just a jacket. It was just a jacket. Nothing more, nothing less. It flapped in the wind on that 1970s moped. It didn't grant me superpowers. It wasn't all it was chalked up to be. It wasn't magical. Had no revolutionary traits. It was a bit of a letdown. It was just another video game. But it had something that was so much harder to sell on an E3 show floor or to convince a wistful teenager of, something that would only ever be visible to those who needed it. A gentle push into the new world. Fable wasn't genre-defining. It didn't usher in the next age of RPGs. It was just good. On almost all accounts, it was just good. But take one step into the British menagerie of Lionhead's fantasy world and tell me it isn't the most charming game ever made.
Wait till I get my hands on that pig! Isn't he just adorable?
From your scared first step, saving up gold pieces to afford a birthday present for your sister, to the ones you confidently take on your way through Litchfield Graveyard against the never-ending horde of the undead, the entire world has shifted. And yet, it hasn't, because Fable is a tiny game. A tiny game that, despite offering towns, quests, exploration, and an extensive bestiary, feels tiny. And that's what makes it work. From the point where you leave the neon green Xbox start screen, it's all within your grasp, all laid out before you. The world is cordoned off into linear sections, all strung together one after the other. Your quests guiding you to the next screen. It's yours for the taking. It's a role-playing game, sure. Be who you want to be, Legolas or Aragorn, Luke or Darth, that's up to you, but the rest, well, the game's got that for you.
You better hide it to make sure no one else steals it.
Don't worry, I've got it stashed all over the yard.
Shh. What was that? Someone's out there. I better go.
Yes. Get out of my house, you bloody peasant.
All right, I'm leaving. I just needed somewhere to sleep.
Fable's 2004 release was just a year out from the next generation 360, and while some parts of the game certainly seem to take advantage of the accumulated knowledge a late generation title has, the star of the show are the limitations. Fable looks completely different from any other fantasy game I've ever played, and while you notice repeat faces, reused animation, janky mouth movements all the time, it doesn't matter. It's a tiny game, and it knows it.
Good to see you again, my young lad. Come to embark in our intrepid contest, have ya?
For a game that promised the world and completely failed to deliver, you'd assume it'd be ashamed, scared, halfway between one idea and the cobbling together of another, but it isn't. Fable is one of the most confident games I've ever played. It knows it's not the next Morrowind, and from the looks of it, it never truly believed it to be either. It's tiny, small, manageable, and it completely loves that fact. It looks at the big, wide world and decides it wants a different path. It sees people growing up, players coming of age, and finds its place among them. The vast, never-ending worlds are out there, but Fable isn't interested in being one of those. It has no ambition to show you the never-ending. It stays by you, lights your path, makes sure you know where you're going, and helps you get ready to become who you want to be.
The shadows of Albion are stirring, and strange winds are blowing. Your choices, whether they lead you down the path of good or evil, will change the face of the world.
The bluest of blue longings for self-expression. The Soviet blue jeans craze, the cowboy ideality, and the teenage jacket. Hardly independent thoughts, hardly a truly individual act of self-expression. Everyone had a denim jacket, everyone was a guild hero, everyone played cowboy in the backyard, everyone swung a longsword at bandits, everyone wanted to be part of the revolution, and as they stood on the precipice of the new world, their hand held for the last time, ready to take a step into the unknown, to finally be who they want to be, they were given the bluest of blue tickets.
Have I ever watched it? The truth be told, I don't know. That's probably a no. On a whim, a decade ago, I rolled the cuffs up. My crush at the time told me that looked cool, and ever since then, well, that was the look. I have bought jackets upon jackets, thinking I'd grow up and get a nice coat, a winter parka or whatever. But this thing, well, it does the same thing. Another hoodie underneath as the snow starts falling, and well, you're right as rain. I have, just like you, worn the most elaborate armor pieces ever seen. Every Skyrim character searching for that gleaming emerald glass set. Every MMO throwing thousands of options at you before you even leave the tutorial island. Not to mention the Souls franchise and their way of weaving immaculate fashion straight into the gameplay. But sometimes it's not about all of that. It's not about the promises of what you could be, what you could experience, what you could see. Sometimes it's just really funny to watch a medieval hero pull the string back on his ebony longbow to kill some mystical troll or something while wearing blue jeans. And sometimes it's just the jacket.
I guess it is about that time. Listen, all throughout writing this video and editing this video, I was hoping I could find a way to include the fact that now that I've played through this game on PC with high resolution models and textures than ever before, and even playing through the anniversary release that came out in like, I don't know, 2014 or something that I haven't even talked about, I just can't shake the fact that they might not be jeans. My grown-up eyes is just telling me that these might just be blue medieval pants. But maybe that's just the thing. Because on my bedroom floor, on an original Xbox borrowed from my sister's boyfriend, on a beat-up old CRT TV, there was no question they were jeans. The most mystical garment, having somehow influenced almost everyone around the globe. And maybe that's just it. Because they weren't mystical, they weren't magical, they might not even have been what I thought that they were, but the impact that they had, well, it stuck with me. A pair of jeans, a hero, and a promise of the world. And how could I ever ask for anything else?
Hello there.